What is going on YouTube? Dr. Wade here, and this is going to be a very different type of video, mainly because I won't have to be in game to show you this part, and I felt like doing it this way would illustrate more about what I'm talking about as far as gear when it comes to particular commanders. I mean, particular unit types, and I could probably do these all in the same video, maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna do them all in the same video and archers, calves, and infantry. And what I did was is that I made gear sets that I felt like were the most optimal, in my opinion, for each one. And then I even did a side by side comparison of like, okay, this is what I would get if you were free to play, and this is what I would get if you were pay to win. I don't really recommend getting legendary gear, especially early on. I feel like you should focus if you get to the point where you're crafting, you can craft legendary gear. I would focus more on getting the legendary accessories rather than the legendary gear because the accessories, right, which is gear, but like you mean the normal gear pieces because with the accessory, you can swap that around on any commander. Whereas if it's a specific piece of gear like a helmet, it's probably gonna go on just one commander or just archers. Whereas let's say a Horn of Fury can go on infantry commander, archer commander, or cavalry commander. So I feel like that's a better use of your late game, materials rather than it be on one piece or two pieces probably for as much as a, legendary accessory is going to cost of gear. I think the legendary accessory gives you more value. So let's go into infantry. Let's go into archers first. And the thing with the archer gear is like this isn't actually the cheapest set that you can start off with. There is a cheaper set, but there's a lot less optimal pieces before you get to this point. So I really do feel like this is a really good set. So you got the Helm of the Phoenix, got the Staff of the Lost, Commander's Heavy, the Exile Grief, Saint Song, and you can go cheaper on the Saint Song and get the green piece, which is like leather gloves, and then you have the edge boots. And like 50, it takes 54 days, and then this right here will tell you like how long it takes with just blacksmith, and I think that's a really good uh, thing to put up there, so you can actually see how long it really does take to craft up this gear. It takes a long time, right? And like this is a good solid amount of stats, right? I didn't special talent any of this stuff, so you can just see what it looks like base. Add 30% to this, and that's what you would get if all this is special talented. And I think right now, most people that are spending money in the game and getting a little bit more materials, especially if you're buying that, 7-day material supply. I think most people could get this on their archers who are spending money on at least that material supply could get this by the time KVK happen. Fuck, I got most of these pieces anyway. And then like there are substitutes, right? You could go the sturdy boots here, you could go chainmail here, and that'll save you a lot of materials because those would be common pieces and not a blue and a green, and then you can also go a green piece here. So there are cheaper options, and you could go a green unoptimal piece there, but I think Staff of the Lost is just a good starting point. And a lot of people aren't going to have good um, good archers to begin with because that's the unit type you care about the least probably in KVK one, even though that's probably the best rally you could do. I digress. Right, this is a really good starting point, and I think for most free to play, stopping here and going on to something different, or just stopping here in general and focusing on decking out, your other unit types in your Canyon team, just like something similar to this, is fine too, right? I think that this is 54 days. Like that's very affordable. You don't have to play the game a ton or spend any money. Like very affordable if you're doing events and stuff like that. Totally, right? Now let's boost it up a notch. If you were, paying, right? I feel like, this would, for KVK1, everybody should do this, right? Let's make that clear. You shouldn't be crafting up really epic gear for KVK1. I mean, epic accessory, yeah. Silent Trial for sure. Delane's Amulet for sure, right? Epic accessories make sense. But epic gear, especially if there's more than one or two, really don't make a lot of sense. And the name of the game here really is a revival set. So these 4 pieces here is the revival set, and then you got the Golden Age and the Flame Treads, right? Solid defense, a little bit of health, a little bit of attack, right? And you can already see you get the set bonuses as well, which is included in these stats. You can see 264 days. I mean, like, it's going to take you quite a bit of time, right, to get to this point, right? And it takes quite a while to get enough of the patterns as well, right? You got to do a lot of Ian's Ballad and Cerulean Crisis, Cerulean Assault. I mean, it's going to take some time. And then just so you can see a side-by-side comparison, right? Like, there it is. I want to say this is what, like 46. This is about 51% of stats. Solid. And then this right here is closer to, let's see, 6 plus 12, more closer to like 30% of stats. So about 20% difference in the stats. And I mean, like, look how much longer it takes. I mean, you're not going to get those stats overnight. And truth be told, by the time that somebody can get to this, I mean, you probably will be able to special talent all this stuff and to get an additional 30%. So it's like 40% of stats versus something closer to like 50% of stats. So I mean, like, the gap isn't as big as you may think. And when you think about it that way, like, you're only missing out on about 10% of stats if you special talent all of this stuff over here versus, I'm going to craft maybe one of each of these and maybe one thing maybe is special talented, right? Like, it's not even that big of a deal. At least in the open field, like 10% on one of your marches isn't going to make or break the fight per se. Your other tech and stuff will, but not that. Your commanders will, but not the gear specifically is going to put you over the top, right? Okay, so that's the archers. And I mean, like, this just looks so clean to me. I want to push everybody towards this, like, even people that's spending money. Like, this is what I'm going for, right? This is literally, give or take, these 2 pieces is what I actually have currently, give or take a couple of pieces. Okay, now let's go to the infantry, and it gets a little bit more spicy, in my opinion, for the infantry. And just like as a really good set to enter into, I mean, 14 days. If you don't have at least this, what are you doing, right? 14 days? That ain't nothing. That ain't nothing, right? And I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like, you're getting a little bit over 20% of stats here. I'm solid, right? Solid, good place to start. Super cheap. Special talented, you would probably get closer to 27%. But I mean, for as cheap as that is, right? The next thing is, okay, if you were going to work towards an all free set, you have really 2 options. You either go full windswept or you don't. You could go cheaper on a couple of these pieces. This is like if you were going like just for the stats, right? This is like for blues, the best of the stats. If you're not trying to do anything, above blue, you can. If you wanted to go a little bit cheaper, like you could go Blessed Blade here. Go a little bit cheaper. You can go Boots of the Revenants here. If you wanted to, you could go. You could. I really like these, so I probably wouldn't change the scarlet ones, but for the breeches, you can change those to the trousers, and then, because that's just attack, you get 4% attack. Special talented, it is the same as these, right? So there are options. You could take this off and go, but you will break up the set bonus, right? So you could substitute, any of these 4 pieces for something cheaper. If you decide, just keep the helmet and chest the same. And like, truth be told, like, you're only getting 0.5% more from the infantry breastplate. So I mean, like, it's just really the march speed. And if you really wanted to go even farther into the march speed, you can get 16% with a full set, and in which case you would want to really just adjust these 2 pieces, which is totally fine. You could go a little bit cheaper with the blessed blade and the pants, trousers there. And then like you're getting about 25, let's see, 20, let's see, 10%, 7, 17. So about 30, you're getting about 30% of stats here, plus 16% march speed. That's disgusting. 16% march. Oh my god. Like that's quite a bit of march speed. That's a good deal. And like I said, you could go a little bit cheaper. And then if you wanted slightly more stats, you want slightly more stats. And I really do mean very slightly. You could do this. In fact, I feel like the 10% march speed on infantry might be more valuable to you. You know, both builds take more or less the same amount of time to do, 70 days. Right, and then if you was going for the big kahuna, you know, this is what you could do. 272 days is, again, a long time. And then you get quite a hell of a lot of attack, to be quite honest, which is kind of what infantry need. 30% almost there. This is 40% there. 48% of stats is really good. But again, like, this is going to take quite a bit of time. And if I was going to... I thought I did a comparison. Okay. If I was going to compare these two, right? Like, this is the stat version, the static version. I mean, like, you know, you're getting 17, like 33% of stats here, 50% there. It's the same, about the same circumstances as this comparison. It's like the same concept, right? You're missing out once you special talent this stuff about, you know, you're missing out on about 10% of stats, right? And then if you wanted to go to march speed route, like, you're getting quite a bit of march speed in a rally context. That's not going to matter. So if you were a whale, like, and you were leading rallies, well, it don't matter march speed, right? And then that makes the epic set a whole lot more compelling. But that march speed, man, it ain't bad. So it's a really good set to strive for if you're infantry. And then there's other ways, like you can get the flag, right? That's another 6% march speed that you can get once KVK comes out. All right, we'll talk about that later. I wish they could put accessories in here, man. So now what you all been waiting for, and the Cav sets are actually the most affordable sets that you can actually do because of the nature of the pieces that you can get, mainly the Vanguard set. So this is the cheapest thing that you can do. 10 days. Everybody should have this. I mean, like, everybody. Put this on your Pelagius. You know, it won't disappoint. 100%. If you got Pelagius, Bars, Belisari, man, whatever you got, man, it's simple. Really cheap. You can't go cheaper than this. Now, what you should strive for eventually is something like this, right? And you're basically going to get this Vanguard set, which is super important. That's like the bulk of your stats. You're getting 9% of stats here, 5% here. Melanie's breastplate, right? Windswept. And I really like this Windswept set. You could actually get edge boots, you know, for 1% of stats. But it's like, just do this. And then you could actually get the same 2.5% from the bronze bracer. But getting the 6% march speed is kind of nice. So I really do like this set, but if you wanted to go cheaper without the windswept, you could. You theoretically could, but this set is just so cheap as it fucking is. It's like, even, for example, to make a comparison, this is 54, this one is 54 days. This one is 70 days. I mean, this one is already 40 days. Does it really need to be any cheaper than this? I don't really think so. So I think this is very appropriate, very, very, very affordable, and you're getting, again, like 30, a little bit over 30% of stats again. So I mean, you're not missing out on stats, and then with the cherry march speed on top, baby. Sweet Lord Jesus, Mary, oh my, and it's cheap. Blows my mind why infantry give you such an advantage on infantry early on. It's just like they want you to say cavalry. They give you such a. Hopefully, I've been saying infantry the whole time. I probably have been. I've been effing up, but you get cavalry. Cavalry just have such a good starting point early. It's not this one quite just yet. And then where's the cavalry pay? Here's the thing. The Vanguard set is so good, so cheap, and so easy to special talent. Like you could get like I think it's 1% of stat you can get by doing the purple. Yeah, I think you can get 1% of stat by doing the purple here. So you're missing out on like 2 or 2.5. Maybe it's 3% of stats, maybe. But it would take an additional 100 days or something like that, like about to do the all, and then it's just like no, keep the Vanguard, right? This is just so cheap for what it's giving you. You're getting that's 38 plus 10, 48 percent of stats, so it's right in line, just a little slightly less than what you would be getting, from let's say an infantry later game set. But 272 days versus 161, like no thank you. Like this is a very good optimized set. Gives you a good blend, more on the attack side, but a good blend of everything, right? I really do like this Cav set, and don't get rid of that Vanguard. Like that's what I'm working towards. I just special talented these. I'm more work on special talent than this. Hopefully after the Ian's ballot, some Ciroli. It's more Ciroli. Whew. And then lastly, just so you can see the Cav comparison, boom, there you go. Right, you're getting 32% of stats on one, or 33 it might be, versus the about 48% of stats. Same concept as before, but the gap I think is even a little bit smaller because you're using a lot of the same pieces. Only difference is you're special talenting 2 pieces. Like, man, and this is how I would approach the gear. I'm gonna post all of these in Discord. At least maybe not all of them, but all the pictures. But I think this is a good visual to do it this way because I'll be switching around and get lost, but you can clearly stop and just like copy. This is copy and paste. Like I've literally done all the work for you. Thank you, Dr. Rye. You're welcome, Legion 3. It doesn't get much better than this, right? You're a master governor. Get out there and again, I wouldn't really focus on crafting gear until KVK or some fighting happens. So once Eve of the Crusade happens and is over with, that's about the time you need to say, like, okay, how many pieces do I have? How much do I have, and what can I do? What's the most optimal? And if you need to go a little bit cheaper, like, do what I'm recommending. Like, you could go a little bit cheaper here, but maybe that's not where you go cheaper on. Maybe over here, this is all blue and a little bit more expensive. You can go cheaper on something like this. You can also go cheaper on the archers, especially if you're not going to be using them. Like then it's like just do something else, right? And like again, craft up your silent trial or your Delane's amulet. Everyone probably should have one from the spring event, the summer event rather. Everybody should have like a silent trial of Delane's amulet. Slap that on your main march as you're going to be out on the field, or if you're a garrison captain, just slap that on your main march, and like you're 100% good to go. Master Governor style. I love you, Legion 3. It's Legion 3 for life over here, baby. See you in the next video.